welcome back to Buddha Dieu. Fight for freedom, freedom of the body, the mind and the soul, to set your spirit free. In today's presentation, we will talk about enlightenment right now. To explain what enlightenment is, it is a multi-level understanding. People tend to look at enlightenment through the chakra system, which is fine. There is nothing wrong with that. You may have heard of the chakra system, where you have the 7 chakras of the body, from the base going up towards a person's so-called seat of the soul, the pineal gland. There are also so-called 7 churches. Those 7 churches, explained in Revelations, is also looked upon as part of enlightenment. We will explain these in more detail in our further presentations, but at the moment we will discuss what is enlightenment. To a lot of people, enlightenment seems to be something that is out there, that is unachievable. Enlightenment seems to be something that once you are enlightened, that all of a sudden you will see different realms, you will see God, the Creator, and so on. In actual fact, enlightenment can be exactly that, although there are many facets of enlightenment that we can experience every single day in our lives. I'd like to start with telling you a story about a man where he was also seeking enlightenment. He tried all sorts of things, followed the gurus, followed priests, followed the so-called enlightened within the martial arts world. He tried basically everything. But what is enlightenment? How do you know when you have reached enlightenment? It's a word to many people. It is a goal to many people. And a goal is never really achievable, because a goal is always somewhere out there. The enlightenment that we will talk about, very briefly, is the enlightenment in our daily lives. To get back to the story about that man, he reached enlightenment, and this perhaps may explain the path to enlightenment is not the same for everyone. It is not the same thing that we are looking for. Although at the end of the day, the accumulation of all those things that we may be looking for, all those things that we have found, will guide us to the same direction. The ultimate, perhaps, if you like, enlightenment. This particular chap, as I say, had searched for enlightenment for many years, attempted many things. He finally, in his desperation, sat in the middle of his lounge room. He looked around. He had a couch, a TV, the usual sorts of things you would see. He looked up. He had a chandelier. And he thought, okay, this is peaceful enough. The TV is off. The power is off. I'll switch the light off as well at the same time. Sit in the middle of the room and meditate, which he did. He meditated for at least half an hour, so he thought. It may have been a lot longer. His desires were huge. It was his last attempt at enlightenment. He was fed up with trying to find something that he really didn't know what he was looking for. So as he sat there in his meditation state, All these things were passing through his mind. And he finally, in a last gasp of desperation, if you like, called out to all the powers out there, please, take my life, but please let me enter enlightenment. All of a sudden, while he was sitting there on the floor meditating, he felt this huge weight descend on him. The weight was so huge that it literally pushed him to the side, threw him on the floor. There were sparks flying everywhere, lightning bolts. The room was filled with flashes. He wiped his hands across his forehead and he felt blood. Finally, he looked up and realized what happened. The chandelier collapsed on him. To him, this was enlightenment. It showed him that sometimes when we seek so hard that we fail to see the little things around us, the things that we call enlightenment. He failed to notice before, but through his desperation now, with the falling of the chandelier, he did notice that the screws came undone, which caused the chandelier to fall. Perhaps there's a lot more to that. Perhaps it was a little bit of destiny. Perhaps it was a situation of him meditating and the chandelier collapsing upon him. To many of us, enlightenment comes the same way. We need to be shocked. We need to be thrown to the side. We need to bleed. We literally need to be almost knocked off our feet until we realize that the answer is as simple as just looking up. We fail to see the little things in life. We chase. Remember, what we chase will never be caught. Once you chase, the chase is never over. The same thing with enlightenment. Enlightenment will come to you. You must only realize it. To understand, we have mentioned before in some of our presentations that we are like a sieve. We need to grow up. We need to plug those holes. We need to live a righteous life. We need to be in contact with ourselves, true to ourselves. Once that is achieved, and only when that is achieved, we will reach our own personal enlightenment. Enlightenment to some may be grandiose, huge event. To others, it may be seeing the loved ones that are beside them.